Today we are looking at a female that took almost 5 days past her due date to start laying her eggs. Here's a sneak peek. I wanted to show her real fast, but I didn't want to interrupt her too much. As you can see, she shed on 1/31, so she should have been due around March 3rd. As I'm recording this, it's March 8th, so she is obviously kind of a few days late. So far I've seen 3, maybe 4 eggs come out of there. They look really good, which makes me very happy because I bred her to an ULTRAMEL OD Leo Firefly het pied male that I bred to another female earlier this year, who's actually right here, who laid 7 slugs and 1 fertile egg. It's actually due to hatch in 2 weeks. So I'm not a religious guy, but I was praying to God that my male, I actually got the male from Aussie. He was a big investment 2 years ago, and I was hoping to God he wasn't shooting blanks, if you know what I mean. But it looks like he isn't, because the 4 eggs that came out of this girl so far look fantastic, look very big. I'm hoping there's 3 or 4 more in there. The goal in this clutch is to hit a bunch of pieds, because they will all be 100% het for ULTRAMEL. Plus, he has the 4 extra genes. He has OD, Leopard, Pastel, and Fire. So he can make 4 gene pied snakes that are het ULTRAMEL, which would be killer. So once this female's done laying, we're gonna catch back up with you on the video. I'm gonna collect the eggs and we can count them. All right, she finally finished laying her eggs, and the day we're recording this is actually International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day, Katie.
Thanks.
So since it's a female ball python that is laying eggs, I figured the best thing to do here is to have Katie pull her first clutch. Now, I'm not going to have her pick up the snake because she's already been huffing and puffing at me just when I pulled the drawer open, the tub open. So I'll pull the snake off, but I'll have Katie actually pull out the eggs, take a look at them, and try to separate them. Alright, so I think I counted around 9 eggs or so. This will be the first time I can make this video pulling a snake off the eggs where I'm not doing it myself, so Katie's going to help. This girl's already huffy and puffy, so hopefully she's not too nippy. So usually what I do, especially if they're huffy and puffy, is I get the head first, just to sort of get a little contact on her, but then you want to grab the tail, because typically what they do is they wrap that tail around the eggs and they can kick the eggs. Alright, so she came off pretty easy. Don't want to disturb the eggs too much. Next step, you can see this girl is very big and she looks pretty empty, as I usually kind of just run my fingers all the way down her belly here, make sure she's empty, and she is. Next step with your snake is you're taking it, you're washing it off. Some people put it in a tub with some Dawn dish soap just a little bit. You want to get the scent of the eggs off of there, and then you want to put the snake into a fresh tub, which is what we have here. What that does is it gets this snake away from the eggs, away from the smell of the eggs, and it gets them back on food a little sooner, so they're not thinking that they still need to incubate, and they're not waiting the 58 days. Alright, now this is some instruction for you guys who've never done this before, and for Katie. The eggs are going to be stuck together when you first take them out. So I'm going to show Katie how to do that. Basically, you have to kind of wiggle them. Some people aren't very soft with them. You rock them back and forth, because you don't really want to tear the eggs. And you also want to make sure to keep them right side up. You got to kind of pay attention to which way they're oriented, because that's where the embryo is going to be, is somewhere near the top. So you're just kind of working your fingers like down in between where they're stuck together, so that you're not ripping anything. You're kind of easing your finger in there. This is probably the easiest way I found to do it. Some people have used like unflavored dental floss, and I didn't like using that. I didn't really have any luck doing it. Just kind of sticking your finger in there and kind of pulling it apart where they're stuck together has been the easiest, safest way that I've found to do this, and it does not rip the eggs as much as just kind of pulling. Now the other option you have is just to get the eggs as soon as they're laid. And if you do that, they're not usually as hard to pull apart. She's been laying these since this morning. It's 4:30 now, so they've been kind of sitting here, and that adhesive really is kind of baked in. Now these top ones are usually the hardest because this one's attached to 3 different eggs at the same time. It's almost apart. So it's off of 2 of the 3. And it's off of 3 of the 3. And as you can see, I don't have any tears on it the way I did it here. You can see all around there. There's no tears anywhere. Then you have to remember that, what side is up. So, we're going to candle them anyways later. But Katie, I will hand it over to you. How do you feel about this?
Nervous. Very, very nervous. I literally just walked in the door from work.
Do it.
He asked me to do this.
Gently. So try this one first here, since it's on the edge. Very gentle, because you will rip them if you're not gentle. Pretend like it's like a baby. Because they are a baby. Stick your finger in there while you're, like the fingers you're peeling with. Not the extra, so if you're pulling with this finger, it has to try to get it all the way in there as you're pulling it. Keep sliding it further and further up the egg. Be gentle with it because it will rip if you just kind of pull. Is it coming off?
Is that alright? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that ripping it?
Yeah. No.
No, like.
The adhesive's coming off.
Okay.
But just your finger has to be constantly sliding along the egg as you're doing it. Don't put your finger in one spot and then start pulling. Slide it in the whole entire time that you're.
Okay. Now I'm scared because look, it looks like it's ripping like that.
So
should I get on that side?
Yeah, you work from both sides.
Okay.
So like right this, just.
Is that alright? What I did?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's not ripped.
Oh.
That's like kind of the outer lining of the egg. So actually, what do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8 eggs. That's good. 8 eggs from. She's actually a first-time mom. And they all look very big, very healthy.
Oh. All right. That one just kind of pulled apart. It scared me.
Just be careful. If you're using your muscles, then you're doing it too hard.
It scares my fingernails too.
Easy. Don't put your feel like you're not being soft. Because you tear it, and you can try to put Scotch tape on it, but there's not always the 100% possibility of that. It's a weird shaped one.
Does that mean anything?
No, it's just a weird shaped egg. Pretty good.
That one wasn't too bad. I'm afraid of this one because it's like.
Well, so because there's 4 stuck there, usually I take the top one off, but
maybe you should do it just in case.
Okay. You did good. I mean, you got 4. She got 4 or 3. I did the first one. So again, it's a little easier. If these aren't piled too high, sometimes you can just stick them in the egg box like this. But because these are really big eggs and they're tall, if I were to put them in here just like this, as you can see, that's coming up over to the top of where the egg box is, and that would be sitting against the pressing the seal. If I can get this one off okay, I might be able to leave these 3 together, but the reason I don't do that, come up here, the reason I don't usually leave them together like that is because if one of them happens to go bad and they're stuck together a month from now, you really have to be in a precarious situation, in my opinion anyways, with trying to separate those eggs and not causing any kind of disruptions to the other embryos and the other eggs. So I for the most part, I just kind of started removing them from each other from the get-go. It just makes it easier. If you have any issues down the line, then you pull out the bad egg, or at least the bad egg's not kind of sitting on the other ones. Now these are pretty stuck together. These eggs are pretty stuck together, and that's what happens when you leave them in there too long. So if you know your female's about to lay, just kind of pay attention to what time, what day of the week it is. This girl actually laid 5 days late. I've had them lay early. I've had them lay exactly on time. So, just double check and keep a close eye on it. If you catch them as she's laying them, it could take a couple hours for them to lay. But if you catch them as soon as they're laid, they'll peel apart very easy. But, so with this clutch, she was bred to, and she was just a regular pied. She was bred to an ULTRAMEL leopard FIREFLY OD het pied male. So basically what I'm looking out of this clutch is visual pieds, because if I get visual pieds, that means they are all 100% het ULTRAMEL. If I don't get pieds, then I have 100% het ULTRAMEL and 100% het pied, which is okay. But I'm looking for visual pieds, and then any of those extra 4 genes that the male carries, if the children, the offspring, have those, even better. So, just finished separating these here. I'm going to candle them real quick, just to make sure all the embryos are right side up, and make sure they have embryos. And that's it. And then roughly 58, 56 days, these guys will be hatching. This is really my first really big clutch for the year, so hopefully we just keep rolling after that. Thank you guys for stopping by.